Thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, and it's the third and final night of the 2020 Albion Park Winter Carnival this Saturday night, and we are set for another bumper program coming through. Two Group 1 features. It's QBred Triad Features night this Saturday night. The 2-year-olds take centre stage. The fillies, that's race number 7. The colts and geldings going first, race number 5. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we are going to speak with Adam Sanderson and Brendan Barnes. Both young men have really good books of drives coming up on Saturday night. Adam Sanderson is about to join us now to go through his big book of drives for Saturday night. 7 drives on the 10-race program, including a couple of key drives as well, and he's in the hot seat straight up. Adam, appreciate the time.
Always a pleasure, Chris.
My Master Craftsman race 1. He comes up with a good draw on paper, but it could pan out to be a little bit tricky. How do you see it?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Sort of the 3 gates, not ideal for him, but he's a horse that's going good. So if we can sort of posse up early, they'll certainly know he's there.
His last couple of runs a lot better than probably what it reads on paper. He hasn't been far away, and his sectionals are solid.
Yeah, 2 starts ago at Redcliffe, he was sort of, run of the race, running 4th or 5th, and last week, he was unlucky and never got a crack at them. So he's a type that relies on luck, but if he gets it, they certainly know he's there.
Okay, well, that's My Master Craftsman race 1. Race 2, the Tab Band 5 final, heats last week. Good final coming up. Early scratching roll with Lachlan. Montana Chief. Gee, he hit the line last week. He really savaged it, and his sectionals back it up.
Yeah, no, he was awesome last week, and that scratching early helps us. So, coming out of 2, we can sort of just posse up early, and he's a sit sprint type, and if he's close enough, the way he went last week, he surprised me, but he hit the line, and as I say, if he's close enough, it wouldn't surprise me if he gave us a shake.
Culture King's going to be the clear favourite, and rightly so. He's been awesome winning his past 2, but with a little bit of luck, Montana Chief shouldn't be far away.
Yeah, he's the one to beat. Since he's got here, he's done everything right, and his gate speed probably is the key factor there. He might sort of get it to the front quite easily. So, if that doesn't play out, as I say, they'll know he's there.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive race, that no doubt about it, but he certainly looks like he's got a good shot there, Montana Chief. We skip across to race 5, the first of the Group 1 features. You've picked up the drive on Captain's Pick for Grant Dixon. He's won 2 of his 4 runs. He looks like he keeps improving every time he starts, but it's a tricky draw here. He's out wide in gate 6.
Yeah, no, it is tricky, and as you say, he keeps improving, so that's all you can ask of these 2-year-olds, and he's in the field, so he's not without a runner's chance, but a couple of them favourites are drawn good, so he's going to have the task ahead of him, but I'm sure he won't disgrace himself.
Okay, well, that's Captain's Pick in the Triad final. Race 6, Blue Moon Rising. Here's a horse with the hoof right on the till. Probably needs that little bit of luck in running, but if he gets any sort of breaks going his way, he can take this.
Yeah, for sure. Last week he was super again, and running good time, sort of running into second off quite quick sectionals. So, again, it's a tricky draw, but he's the one-trick pony, so he'll just slot across, and if he can get the right card into it and something gets us close enough, he can sprint as good as any of them.
Would it be fair to say it's not the strongest quality on paper?
On paper, it doesn't look to be. So, we just need that little bit of pressure early, and he can get in a rhythm, and just the key to it is just getting that card up so he can utilise that sprint at the finish. Okay,
well, that's Blue Moon Rising in race 6. Race 7, another Group 1 feature. She's a Bonnie Sheila, the outside of the second row. Feature race winner already this season, taking the Changeover Classic. Where is she right now, Adam?
She's still going good. I think she's sort of done a bit wrong her last couple of starts, and it hasn't sort of aided her chances. So she's had to trial a couple of times, and the trials have been okay, but whether she's sort of coming to the end of it and might need that paddock, whether it's a week too late for her or not, but on ability, she's right up there in this field.
Okay, well, that's She's a Bonnie Sheila there in race number 7. Race 8, Kira Harpo Gambler. He's backing up from Tuesday, but he was an eye-catcher on Tuesday, and that followed a good trial in fast time recently.
Yeah, no, he trialled good and then raced good on Tuesday. So, being an OD runner, it's hard out the back there, and he relies again on tempo, so they sort of run it to suit on Tuesday, and he got home good. So if they can do it again, he's as honest as they come.
Okay, key dangers there look to be Dapper, Mr. Brazil, Love My Sister, Escalera. They've all got front row draws.
Yeah, no, that's going to make it hard. But as I said, if they sort of pressure each other and sort of set it up for a back marker, he can finish it off.
All right, and race 9, the Group 3 Queensland Trotters Cup, Lavros, Texas. I tell you what, he was good last week, and the sectionals back it up. He's close to a win.
Yeah, no, he's going really good. his numerical form's probably not that great on paper, but it wasn't the greatest drive last week. He was out wide and sort of got trapped behind, a tiring runner. So he's not as good when he has to come wide, but I thought he was fantastic late. So it's again not a great draw. So it's just a matter of sort of posing up early and seeing how close he is, and he can finish it off as good as any of them.
Busy night for you coming up. 7 drives at this stage. Which way do you like, or which one are you leaning to most?
Sort of. It's going to be tricky or not. The draws aren't sort of in my favour, but I thought if Blue Moon Rising sort of gets that card into it, I thought the way he went last week, he's the one to beat.
Great stuff. We'll see you trackside.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Well, Brendan Barnes is about to join us to discuss all of his drives for Saturday night. He's got 5 in total, and he's going to know the second row really well after Saturday night, because the bulk of his drives face second row draws, but I'm sure he's going to be a major player, and he's with us now. Brendan, appreciate the time.
Thanks, Chris. No worries.
Sir Julian Race 1, speaking of second row draws, he's got gate 10. It's 1 mile. The front row looks loaded with speed. How do you see this race unfolding?
Yeah, there does look a bit of speed there. You sort of got Rock with Sam in the 1 and Holy Camp Clive in there nice and close too. So I think also May Wins Best is drawn out wide there. So yeah, there's plenty of speed on, and yeah, 10 as you said. So we'll see them all in front of us, and hopefully we just get a slice of luck there somewhere.
Now we know Sir Julian well. He's been around for some time, but this is the first time you've sat behind this guy.
It is for sure. Yeah, first time, and Graham's done a great job with him. He's just come up and just kept winning races after races, and he's always consistent. So yeah, full credit to Graham for him.
He was a winner 3 starts ago. It's pretty straightforward. You've got to drive for luck, but if he gets it, he can certainly feature.
For sure, he's always a horse with the right sort of luck. He's never far away.
Okay, well, that's race 1, Sir Julian. We look now at race 2. This is the Tab Band 5 final. We saw the heats last week, and it's drawn together a really strong final. Rockin' Brushgrove, he had a good gate last week. He's fared badly this week in the final. He's got the outside of the second row, again over the mile. He was 3rd last week in his heat. How did you break down that effort?
Yeah, I thought that was really good. He sort of lacks a little bit of high speed. He's a bit of a sort of get up and grind sort of a horse, as we've seen here at Redcliffe there 2 starts ago. So last week was good. They just sort of left him flat-footed at the top of the straight, but he hit the line pretty well, as good as any of them. But as you said, bad draw on Saturday night, and the scratching of the 1 sort of plays into the hands of Culture King a little bit more, so I'm tipping we'll all be chasing him pretty strongly.
Okay, well, I was going to ask about that. The early scratching of roll with Lachlan is an important one for many reasons, but is that more of a help or a hindrance for you?
Well, I'm not sure if it had the speed to sort of hold out Culture King early anyway, but if it sort of did it would have put a lot more speed into the race, and probably helped us. Would have been a very genuine tempo, and we probably could have featured there somewhere. But in saying that, if something does decide to happen early and Culture King gets stretched out and sort of has to go a bit harder than it likes to, sort of we know our fella, he won't get tired. He'll keep bowling them even quarters all day. So we just got to hope for something like that to happen.
Okay, so he's a value chance.
He is for sure.
Okay, well that's Rockin' Brushgrove in race number 2. That's a good race there. We go across to race 6, in fact. Pacific Drums. He's got the outside of the second row as well. Again over the mile. You would have been hoping to land a front row draw with this guy, because we know what he's capable of when he can lead in these races.
Yeah, for sure, and he's really going well at the moment too, and he's just been tortured with bad barriers for probably his last 10 starts. I don't think he would have drew inside sort of gate 5, but gate 10, we'll just have to hope for a little bit of luck and a little bit of speed on it. It's not the toughest of qualities that we've seen for a while, so hopefully he's first up off a little freshen up, but he's been ready for a couple of weeks. We just sort of struggled to get a run with him. He's had plenty of miles under his legs, so I definitely think he's going well enough that if they go a little bit hard early and we can get into the race whenever we need to, yeah, he should be thereabouts.
All right, well, that's Pacific Drums in race 6. One of our Group 1 features is the Fillies Triad final, Vanish Hanover. You've already won a feature on this filly before, claiming the Breeders' Classic. You know what it's like to beat these fillies because you've met and beat them before. She's drawn 2 off the second row. It looks like there's going to be good front-end pressure here. How do you rate her chances?
Yeah, I really rate her quite strongly there, especially that's quite a good draw, especially with what's drawn in front of us. I think probably the only better draw we could add for her from there would have been barrier 2, so that's one of the better draws we got for the night. Hopefully there's a little bit of speed early, and yeah, it should hopefully play into our hands, and we all know she's got the speed that she can finish off very strongly.
The 2 runs since the Breeders' Classic, are they pass marks, or how did you assess them?
I thought last week was a very good run. It was probably just a below par drive from myself. If I stayed on the back of just a little bit rather than sort of diving up in between them, I think she quite easily wins, because she done well. She copped a bump round the corner and lost a bit of ground and sort of half galloped for a couple strides and did well to sort of get back down, keep herself together, and then hit the line strongly again. So I think that run last week definitely topped her off, and she felt super. So I'm sure Charlie would have done a good job ticking her over through the week.
Okay, the filly to beat, what are we looking at? Jasper, she's been so good in the 4 runs today. Does she loom as the obvious threat?
Yeah, I think so. So despite the gate, she's going to have to work a little bit. I think she's a Bonnie Sheila drawn 10. She's going to have to do a little bit of work somewhere. Hopefully we can stay in front of her as much as we can. And then you sort of got She's Miss Divine drawn 2, that it wouldn't sort of shock us to see her be very hard to beat. So yeah, there's a few chances there, and hopefully there's a bit of front end pressure, and we sort of don't have to make a move sort of too early. If we can sit for as long as we can, I think we got too much speed if they go hard early.
Okay, so you're not swapping drives then?
No, definitely not.
All right, well, that's Vanish Hanover. A good push there in that Group 1 fillies feature. Race 9, this is the Queensland Trotters Cup, Group 3 event, just a bit like Mum. She lands gate 4. You finally get to see the front row there in your final drive on Saturday night. She does possess early speed. How does this play out?
Yeah, she does have good speed. I think the scratching will help us there, because we'll move into 3, and Galen Green, he's a good beginner, so we should be able to just sort of slide straight across into the running line and then see how we go from there. I thought she was still good enough last week, having a torrid trip over the 2600, so hopefully a little bit of luck. And she's a horse that she doesn't have high speed, but she'll stay all day, so if it turns into a sort of a grind off, she'll be there at the finish.
The drop back in distance, is that to her advantage this week?
I think so, for sure, especially if there's a little bit of pressure there at some stage and they sort of get up and roll even 30 quarters, and there's not too much of a walk and sprint. That'll play into her hands for sure.
Okay, is Garland Green the horse to beat there? He looked good in a recent trial against the Pacers.
I think from the draw he should have no trouble in leading, and definitely looks a horse to beat.
Okay, well there's 5 good drives, and just reading between the lines, correct me if I'm wrong, Vanish Hanover looks the best of your drives.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. We'll be pretty confident going into that one, I think.
It's a good one to get, a Group 1 $100,000 event. You'll take them every day of the week.
Definitely.
Hey, Brendan, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside on Saturday night.
Thank you. Cheers.
I think we've got to be patient. I think we wait towards the back end of the program for our best bet this weekend. I'm marking race 9, number 2, Garland Green, as the best bet. This trotter is in super form. All of his victories have come here at Albion Park. He looks very well placed under the mobile conditions, and with the scratchings, I think he leads all of the way now, and he's coming into this race off a really good trial against Big Wheels, who looks one of the major players in that Group 1 2-year-old feature. And the sectionals out of that trial, they were super. I'm keen on him. Race 9, number 2, Garland Green. Best of luck with Albion Park on Saturday night. It's the final night of the carnival. Hope to see you trackside, and if you are gambling this weekend, please do so responsibly.